Ladies and gentlemen from the nice folks at Sinvertek and my buddy Woonan, this is the No.5 Plus 3D edition. And there's two versions of this pedal, a gold version and a titanium version. This is the gold version, features a few NOS parts in it, and the titanium version is a little bit less dough. But they're both limited in quantity, and you gotta order them right from the Sinvertek website. So the link is down there in the video description below if you wanna check that out further. So, what is this pedal? It's basically like a great distortion channel of an amplifier, but in a pedal. And it's meant to be run in front of a clean channel. It's not meant to be used in front of like a recording interface or into the power amp of your amplifier or anything like that. Woonan tuned it running into the clean channel of both a SLO and a Bogner amplifier to sound great in front of those clean channels and to closely replicate the drive channels of those respective amplifiers, but when running into the clean channel with the pedal on. So these pedals can look a little confusing and maybe be a little daunting at first because there's a lot of switches and knobs, but it's actually pretty easy to use and you get used to it quick. Up here we've got a drive control and a level control, or gain and level, gain and volume. And then there's a switch here for gain structure. Basically it makes it sound more saturated or a little bit cleaner. Then you've got switches for low end to tune in the low end of the pedal, as well as the mid-range and the top end frequencies. And the mid-range has a 3-position switch, and that'll directly connect to this mid-range tone control here, and you can just affect the frequency that you're boosting or cutting. As far as the tone controls, you get a bass, middle, and treble here, and then there's also a resonance and presence. So all that stuff really works just like it would on an amplifier. You got a couple more switches here to affect something called tone density and also saturation. Basically, it allows you to kind of tailor the response to the pedal and make it sound like a little bit more sort of driven, compressed, or a little bit more open. And depending on where you have the tone density and the gain saturation set, you've got a couple lights here that'll light up either blue, red, green, depending on your settings. So for almost all the examples in the video, I was running through the clean channel on my PT100 amp and then going into the SUR reactive load and loading down the amp and then going into my recording interface. And in Logic, I'm using 2 Notes wall of sound, and I'm using my signature 2 Notes Dyne IR package with the 412 cabinet G12M Blackback 75 Hertz speakers. So that was for almost all the parts. The part I played on my silver guitar, my silver SUR with the EMGs, I played into the clean channel of the SLO actually, and I'm using a V30 IR for that instead. So I'm gonna solo some of those parts outside of the mix, and you can hear what those sound like in isolation. I just tweak sounds until I got tones I liked for the rhythm and the lead guitars on the pedal basically. But for the silver guitar, that particular lead part, I wanted to roll the volume up and down and use the neck pickup and the bridge pickup during that solo. And I also tried to dial in a sound that sounded really close to the SLO's lead channel, because that's what they did when they were making this pedal, dialed it in to sound as close as they could to the overdrive channel on the amp. So I'm gonna play a little bit more through the pedal, and I'm gonna do my own comparison of the sound of the pedal running into the SLO and into the clean channel. I'm gonna go back and forth between the overdrive channel and the pedal into the clean channel so you can hear what that sounds like. Okay, here we go, let's check it out. Okay, so I just played the lead guitar part on the track at the beginning of the video that I played when I played on this fine guitar. What I did for that part is I ran the pedal into the clean channel of my SLO 100 amp. Most of the parts in this video were cut going into the clean channel of the PT 100, my signature amp. But I thought I'd try the SLO 100 for this one part because when they tuned in this pedal, evidently they ran it into the clean channel of an SLO and also the clean channel of a Bogner Ecstasy. And then they would compare the sound of the pedal running through the clean channel on those amps to the overdrive channels of those amps. So they turn off the pedal, go to the drive channel, and then listen and tune the pedal and try and get it dialed in to sound as close as they could to the drive channel of those respective amps. So let's do that right now. I'm going to play the pedal through the clean channel of the SLO 100, then I'm going to turn it off, and I got the foot switch on the floor here. I'm going to go over to the drive channel of the SLO 100, and we'll compare the two sounds. Okay, so that's through various tweaking of the EQ and the gain structure, and the saturation switch, and the mid switch, and the treble switch, and the low switch, and everything. And that was with me working on it for about 15 minutes. And I think I got fairly close. The pedal sounds a little different, sounds a little bit more mid-range voiced, maybe a little more martially, for lack of a better description. Whereas the Soldano has that big, broad distortion, but really they're fairly similar in the same sort of ballpark sounds. Slightly different, but pretty cool how close you can get to the overdrive channel of that amp. Let me flip some of the switches and turn some of the knobs right now so you can hear what they do. And there you have it. It's the number 5 plus 3D Gold Edition. There's also a Titanium Edition. Great distortion pedal with really full EQ capability, all kinds of settings for saturation, tone density, tons of gain on tap, just as much as my SLO 100, I would say. Sounds great running into the clean channel of a couple different amplifiers that I have here. I'm a big fan of the past versions of this pedal, so they're doing nice work. It's a terrific sounding boutique distortion pedal. Check it out further, that link down there in the video description below, and it's best to note that these are tough to find in the US. You kind of got to order right from the Sinvertek website if you want to get one, and they're made one at a time, sort of per order, so it might take a little while, maybe 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. They say on the website how long it's going to take to get one once you've ordered it. And they are limited, so if you want to get one, go to the website and get one now. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please hit subscribe, hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You'll get an alert when I put out a new video. I'm Pete Thorn. Take care.